Namaskaraha, Suprabhatam. Good morning. So last week we had these different sentences to combine using twa, ya or left and then tum. So some of you have done it correctly. I just wanted to go through this very quick and then proceed. Balaka pathati, balaka khadati. So here in the twa and lep, remember twa and lep, these are used to indicate the action happening first. So in this case, balaka patati, after that he eats. So to indicate after, so we are going to attach this suffix to this patati. So we have patitva. Patitva. Balaka patati changes to patitva. Balaka khadati. Balaka patitva khadati. Because the doer is the same, we do not need to repeat that word. Balaka patitva, balaka khadati. So in this, because the subject word is the same, we are not going to repeat it. So it becomes balaka patitva khadati. Both the actions are done by the same person. Now, second one is agacchati. Here to gacchati, there is a prefix is added. So in that case, this kind of suffix called lep, which changes to ya, that is added. So that becomes agacchati becomes agatya. Agatya. So do not change it to agatva. If it is no a, then it becomes gatva, because we are adding this first prefix tva. So agatya changes to gacchati changes to gatva. But if there is a prefix, it changes to agatya. So similarly, wherever there is a prefix, it changes to this ya form. If there is no prefix, it changes to tva form. So this changes to upavishya. Chalakaha chakrayane upavishya chakrayanam chalayati. Then dhivaraha jalam gruhnati, and dhivaraha nadim gacchati. Dhivara is a fisherman. Jalam gruhnati, nadim gacchati. So he takes a jalam, which is net. Gruhnati is takes. Then dhivaraha nadim gacchati. He goes to river. So here gruhnati. Now we want to change this to this form. Because there is no prefix, we are going to attach this twa. So changes to twa form. Now gruhnati changes to, how does it change? Now gacchati changes to gatva, pathati changes to patitva, gruhnati changes to gruhitva. Yeah. Now how do we know this? Obviously, if you study grammar, there will be steps to transform this from the root word, verb root, which is grah, in this case, grah.
Namaste, so Sanjeev. Sorry for being late.
Namaste.
No, I just had some problems with my headphones. So.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So grah changes to, grah is the root, verb root. So this changes to grihitva. So remember, this in the verb root there is this type of ra is there. Ra is there in the graph, and that changes to ru when we add twa. Gruhitva. So how do we know this? Either we refer to the dictionary of verb roots, not the namapadam. There are two different dictionaries, right? One is for the nouns, other is for the verbs. So either we look up in the verb dictionary and we look up this grah, graha verb root, and there we find this form, grihitva, will be listed there. Or for some of the verbs are listed in this table which are given. In that graha is there. I think graha is there, right? No? Graha is not there. You can add it if you want.
Sorry, I found a little bit difficult to find the right form. As I told you in the email, basically first I try to figure out the root, which isn't always easy. Then I use one of the dictionaries that you showed us online. I think it was the Monier-Williams.
Yeah.
Which has all the forms. So from there I was able to. It's a little bit tricky though.
Right. Sorry. So let me show you one of the dictionaries which you can also download. This is a PDF you can download. This is a Dhatu Kosha, dictionary of verbs. So we'll go down here. Initially there is some intro how to look up and there's different terms used in this dictionary. Now it starts with the, I don't know whether I have shown this here before, this dictionary. So is written like this. This is a little bit old book and old Devanagari only. This is a older, little bit older script, but not much difference. Some of the letters are different. So this is So it starts with alphabetically. So this is the advantage of this book. Many of the word dictionaries, they are in that the verbs are given in the order of Dhatu Patha of Panini, which are not alphabetical. So they are divided into 10 different groups, and by each group the order is given. But in this book it is alphabetical. E, like in the chart of letters alphabetically. It starts with So you start. Suppose if you look for graha, if you know the verb root, look up for graha. So
the problem is you have to know the root. You have to figure out the root, which isn't always easy, right?
Yeah. Let me show you that also. Let me see. So one way, it's not easy to figure out the root, that's right. So, but you can go to this website, you already know this, spokensanskrit.org. Just type here whatever the verb. Suppose we know the verb grahannati, not the root, but grahannati. Just type here. So it will show you the verb here in this parenthesis or brackets here. So grah is G-R-A-H. This is the transliteration. So G-R-A-H is the verb, the parenthesis. So similarly if you type say gacchati, so you see that in the bracket you see gum. So I'm not sure whether this can show verb for all the words you type, but mostly you'll find it like this, gam. So we saw the graha there, graham, the verb root for gachati. So then if you come to that dictionary, so it's stored down for ga, which is after ka, kha, ga. We are already reached the. So ka, kha, ga. So here, so ka, cha. This is gum. Gum is here. You see gum to go. So here, first it shows gachati, gachataha, gachati. This is the present tense. So all the other tenses are given here. So not all the forms are there in this, but only gachati, the third person singular, gachasi, second person madhyama purusha singular, gachami, uttama purusha singular is given. So and other like this is imperative, which is gachatu, bhavatu. That form is there. Prathama purusha, madhyama purusha, uttama purusha. That one is there, and this one is imperfect, is bhutakala, gachat like abhavat. That is also there. Again, prathama purusha, madhyama, uttama purusha. But if you scroll down here, so here after this free, after this part, these are all kriyapada or word forms. After this, we have the kridanta form. Gantavya is one form. Gantavya means to be gone. And then PP, this is past participle, and there is IP, this is gatva, and there is INF, gantum. So last two forms, if you see here, you see gatva and gantum. So you can look up. And then gataha. So this one really is helpful to figure out the bhutakala form that we have seen, like gatavan, drishtavan. So what you need to do is just for the gataha, the visarga is there, remove that visarga and just add van or vati. Van is for pullinga and vati is for strilinga. So after removing this visarga, whatever remains here, gata, just add van, van, vati, gata, vati. This is past participle, only gataha can also be used, but this is a passive voice, karmani, passive voice format. Whereas gatavan, gatavati, these forms are active voice format. So for example, pustakam, suppose pustakam, we want to use past participle. So pustakam is an apostakalingam. So let's say there is some other word. Pustakam can also be used, but I just want to use pullingam or strilingam. So likhita, let's say likhita. So if you go to likh is the dhatu here. So if you go to likh dhatu, you will see the past participle there, likhitaha. So likhita past participle is the passive voice. So if I want to say I wrote what? I wrote what can I write? Grantha. Granthaha is a composition or a book, you can say, but book is like a bound book, or that is pustakam. But here granthaha is a composition or a work, or composition. So here, if I want to say I wrote this grantha, I wrote a grantha. So how are we going to say, using what we know so far, active voice? So drop this and add van or vati. So aham Grantham, because Grantham becomes an object here. I wrote a book. Aham Grantham Likitavan or Aham Grantham Likitavati, depending on who is writing it. Aham. Or if it is Balaka, Grantham Likitavan, Balika Grantham Likitavati. But this passive voice, how are we going to use? Because there is Granthaha. So we are not going to say Aham Grantham Likitaha. That is not correct, because this is a passive. That means wrote, it was written. What Likhitaha means was written. Again, this is also depends, changes the form depending on changes the lingam or the gender depending on what is being written. Okay? Not who is being written, because now this becomes passive. So in that case, in English we say the book was written by me. Okay? Book was written by me. So book Granthaha Likhitaha. So Granthaha Likhitaha. Now the Likhitaha becomes adjective to Granthaha now. Whereas in Aham Grantham Likhitavan, in that Likhitavan is the adjective for Aham, the doer. But now here it is passive. In the passive voice, Likhitaha becomes adjective to Granthaha. So, and also Aham changes to, because it is by me, it changes to, it takes third vibhakti, third case ending. It becomes Maya Granthaha Likhitaha in the passive voice. But in active, what we have seen, studied and practiced is Likhitavan Likhitavati. It becomes Aham Grantham Likhitavan. So just remember that. So this one, you go here in the dictionary, drop this visarga, just one, add one or vati, depending on the lingam. If it is Napusik lingam, you can add what. For example, if a leaf is falling, or if leaf has fallen, so patita, paranam patitavat. So we use not patitavan, patitavati, because paranam is Napusik lingam, we use patitavat. So paranam rukshat patitavat. It has fallen from the tree. Because paranam is neuter gender, we use patitavat. Okay, so similarly, if you just gum is there, so gaj, and then so ga. So yeah, I see graha. Where is graha? Gruha is different. Graha. There is also gai here. Gai is singing. This is the root. So if you see at the end here, IP, this is Geetva, and there is Gatum. Obviously, he has given one example. If we have a prefix like Pragaya, like Aniya, that form, sometimes in some cases, this dictionary gives that also. So note there is a Granthaha that I was saying just now. There is a verb root for Grantha also, from where the Granthaha composition has come. That means to tie, to fasten. Okay, so now come to Graha here. Graha is to take. Grannami, that is the present form. And then if you go down here, then you see Grihita, that is Grihitavan, Grihitavati, that becomes the form in past participle, active voice, and then there is Grihitva and INF Grahitum. Okay. Should be simple, right? So now this dictionary you can also find online. Also I have collected, given a dictionary link here to download on my website, Bhasha Bodha. The second one you see here, this one. Okay. You can download directly PDF. And the first one, Shabda Manjari, that has the forms of Namapadas, or the nouns. And also it has many verbs also, but not as extensive as the second one. You can try both of them. And one good thing about the dictionary which I showed just now is that also gives the English meaning. Okay, any questions?
It will take some practice to get used to using this dictionary.
Sorry, hold on. I think this was not in picture when I was trying to show this. You can download this here. Second link, Dhatu Kosha, which is the one verb dictionary I'm showing, and then the first one is the Shabda Manjari, which has the mainly for the noun forms, and it also has other forms like the verb roots and verb forms mainly, of some of them, not all, which is also quite useful. But Dhatu Kosha has most of the dhatus and more forms than the Shabda Manjari. Yeah. What do you takes practice? Yeah. So there are two ways to tackle this learning, right? One is, I don't know about other languages. Is a dictionary supposed to be studied in other languages? Probably yes. Maybe sometimes we study at least the thesaurus, right? Thesaurus and the antonyms, synonyms. So, but in Sanskritam especially, a dictionary is a subject of study. So even the Paniniya Dhatu Pathaha, and also there are other dictionaries for Namapadams like synonyms, collection of synonyms like Amarakosha, which is one of the downloadables, the third downloadable here, Amarakosha. It's a synonym. That also, if you want, you can download it and just browse through it. So it's a good thing to study, and so that our knowledge of words increases. So whenever you have time or spare time, you want to just don't know what to do, you can. This is a good way to utilize time and then go through these. This is one approach or one way to study, and the other one is actually start reading the books. First, the simple books, which are like simple sentences based on what we already studied, what some like we have already. I hope you all know now the basics of the structure of the language. That's important to know. Like mainly what kind of genders are there, what kind of vachanams, numbers are there, vibhaktis are there, different tenses are there. So some at least on some part we are familiar, may not be all. Like there are other more tenses also, and there are more like voices, like passive voice, this voice, that. So those are still there. Those still need to be studied. But without also, there are few books available which you may want to take up, and otherwise also there are some English Sanskrit translation of some other books whichever interests you. Even for example, Ramayanam also is there. There is Sanskrit English translations are also available. So start reading them, Sanskritam, and then start reading the translation if you want to, and then from there you get more and more familiar with the word forms and how the sentences are formed, etc. Then you can also use these dictionaries to look up the meanings if you want to. So both way, it's a good approach to tackle from both the angles. Okay. So Munihi ashramam pravishati, Munihi japati, pravishya japati. Then Vyadha banam munchati. So here the munch is dhatu, much. much. Munchati, that becomes muktva. So if you go here and look for, or let's say, first you have to go here. Actually, you don't know the dhatu. You go here. So if you say munchati, in the bracket you see much. So you go to much in the book there and find out. It shows muktva. You can say muktva is after releasing. Munchati is releasing. He releases the arrow. Vyadha is the hunter. Hunter releases the arrow. Vyadha mrugam marayati. Vyadha banam muktva mrugam marayati. Then shikshakah vidyalayam gatva chatran pathayati. Chatraha yanam arohanti. Here is a prefix. Arohanti. So it becomes aruhya. Now ruha is the dhatu. Ruha. So these are all added. The suffixes are added to the root form, verb root form, not to the present tense form or the past tense form. So that's why knowing the root will help, unless you actually know the final form. So knowing the root, again you can follow that same path. If it, either if it is not on our simple table. So aruhya, chhatraha yanam aruhya, chhatra vidyalayam gacchanti. Anantaram mahilaha devalayam gatva geetam shrunvanti. Now if this is first, shrunvanti was before, then what is the tva form? Shrutva. 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 Then balak. Now here the next one is balakah pathati balaka khadati. So here combine the sentences in tum form. So note that here the balakah patati balaka khadati. So we are implying here that patati action is happening first, khadati is happening later. So to do this action, he is reading. This is what we want to say. This is happening first, this is happening next. So to do this action, to do the action which is coming later, so he is doing this first action. So for that, this second action we want to change it to tum form. So for tum form, whether there is a prefix or no prefix, it doesn't matter. The tum comes at the end. So balakah khaditum, this we want to put first. To do this action, he is doing the first action. To do the second action, he is doing the first action. So balakah khaditum, balakah patati. Marjarah dugdham pibati. Now here, pibati also we need to find out the root form. Again, follow the same path. You find the root is pa there. So you add tum to it. Obviously, you will find this also in the book also. Marjarah dugdham patum agacchati. It comes to drink the milk. Marjara is a cat. Then chalakah chakrayanam chalayati. So chalakah chakrayanam chalayitum, to drive it. Chalayitum chakrayane upavishati. Dhivaraha nadim gantum. Jalam ghrunati. Balikaha nrutyam kartum geetam gayanti. Then here japitum, japitum pravishati. Marayitum munchati. Pathayitum shikshaka chatran pathayitum gacchati. Chatraha vidyalayam gantum yanam arohanti. Now the last one is here. Mahilaha geetam shrotum. Shrotum. Devalayam gacchanti. So you can do this. So any question on lookup books or any of these sentences? No.
I realized most of what I wrote was wrong. Almost all is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that is what we think. Like whatever is Vishati, just add a tum or tu to that. But basically, the suffixes are added to the root form. So we need to know that those forms.
Can we have the corrected version of this homework?
Yeah. So
yeah, because then we can go and write on there, like make notes.
Yeah. So sure. So Giovanni has done it. So either he can post it or I can post his sheet.
I think there was a mistake though. I was just checking the ninth sentence.
Grahitam.
Chatraha. It's the number 9. Yeah. Arohanti. I wrote, I don't know why, but Arudya. This is the form that I erroneously found. Probably.
Which one? Arudya?
Arudya.
Oh, okay. So here. Last one is here.
It's wrong.
So I know that there is dia in your thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's Arihya.
Arihya. Yeah. So I had to correct that one.
Yeah. And actually, some of the very old books for here, it looks like this. The here. The here, when they print, very old one, it looks like this. That may be confusing. If it is a very old book or from very old it is sourcing that.
Maybe I was actually using the Monier-Williams, which puts in transliteration the form, so I must have been confused somewhat. So it's Aruhya, right?
Yeah, H. Yeah.
So it's H-Y.
Yeah, H-Y-A.
Okay.
So, quick note about Bahuvachanam of nouns. I'm not sure whether we went through in some more detail, but here we look at, so we know that now the Kriyapadam, Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam, Bahuvachanam, Ramaha Pathati, Rama Pathatah, Ramaha Pathanti. So the Bahuvachana form of Kriyapadam is Pathanti. So there with that we are going to use Ramaha, right? The Bahuvachana form of the noun, the doer. So there is a small table here. Obviously, I think you know the different more tables now. I mean, or the entire Vibhakti tables, how to look up those Vibhakti tables. You already know that. But this is something I just wanted to quickly cover it. So here Rama, Moolam, Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam. Dvivachanam right now you can ignore. So Ekavachanam, Bahuvachanam, these are the Bahuvachana form, Rama, Ramaha, and obviously these are all in the Prathama Vibhakti Rupa in this case. Rama, Akaranta, Strilinga Shabda becomes Ramaha. Akaranta, Napunsakalinga Shabda becomes Vanani. Ukaranta, Pullinga Shabda becomes like this, Guravaha. Gurhu is Guravaha. Then Hari becomes Harayaha. Nadi becomes Nadyaha. Mati becomes Matayaha. Dhenu becomes Dhenavaha. Pitru becomes Pitaraha. Matru becomes Mataraha. Okay. So this last two may be confusing, but I'll just put it on the table. Yeah. So because these are ending in Ru, the Moola or the base word is ending in ru. Pitru, matru, pitaraha, mataraha. So if we are using it with this kind of bahuvachana form, we can use the bahuvachana form of kriyapadam, like Ramaha patanti, Ramaha patanti, or Balikaha patanti, Vanani santi. Santi is the bahuvachana form of asti. Vanani santi, Guravaha gacchanti, Harayaha, Harihi is name, could be name of a person, god, or there is Hari is also means monkey. Hari monkey, and it also means a simha, lion. So it has multiple meanings, but those are not generally used when we say Hari. It means a name of a person or a god, but it is not incorrect to use it as a lion or a monkey. So Harayaha khadanti, Nadyaha vahanti, Mati is like intellect or buddhi. Matayaha santi. Then Mati is why I am showing here short E. What is the difference between this E and this one? This is a pullinga, this is a strilinga, though the forms are same. Here in other vibhaktis, second case and so on, there could be some changes between these two. And dhenuhu, dhenavaha, here also ukaranta, which is like guru, guru, dhenuhu, dhenavaha. Here in the first case ending, the forms are same. And these are the pronouns that we know, this form like saha. So in the bahuvachanam it becomes te. Saha is that. This we know that in pullingam saha ashvaha, in bahuvachanam te ashvaha, or te balakaha, sa balika taha balikaha, tat phalam tani phalani, eshaha rukshaha, or ete rukshaha, esha balika etaha balikaha, etat phalam etani phalani. So these are the pronouns ekavachanam, bahuvachanam forms, which again can be found in the tables. And this is about kim and bhavan we know already. Bhavan bhavati, asmad is aham. So kim in the pullinga form, kim is the base word for kaha, ka, kim, all three. So in pullinga, strilinga, bahuvachana, napunsaka it becomes kaha, ka, kim. So in dvivachanam it is, in bahuvachanam it is ke, kaha, kani. Ke balakaha santi means which boys are there, or who are the boys. Ke balakaha, kaha balikaha. Question. Kani phalani santi, or kani khadyani santi. Khadyani is eatable, something edible. Kani khadyani santi. You can ask the question. And then similarly in bahuvachanam for bhavan becomes bhavantaha. Bhavantaha. So if it is a single person, we can ask the question, Bhavan katham asti. Katham is how. Katham means how. Katham is an indeclinable word. Indeclinable means avyayam. It doesn't change. It remains same in any gender or any vibhakti or any number. So no change. Katham is katham. So katham, how are you? To say that we say katham, bhavan katham asti. How are you? Bhavan katham asti. If it is plural, we can say bhavantaha. Bhavantaha katham santi. So because bhavantaha becomes plural and santi should be plural, the kriyapadam. Bhavantaha katham santi. How are you guys? The same thing, bhavati. Bhavati katham asti. And plural, bhavatyah katham asti. Same thing, asmad. Asmad is aham, I. Plural is vayam. So, bhavan katham asti. The answer is, how are you? The answer would be, aham samyak. Samyak is also avyayam. Avyayam is indeclinable. No change in form based on lingam or vachanam. It remains same, fixed form. So, samyak. Aham samyak asmi. Because it is aham, it changes to asmi now. Okay. Bhavan katham asti. Bhavan samyak asti. So if you want to say you are good, good. Samyak is okay or good. So bhavan katham asti. Bhavan samyak asti. Bhavati samyak asti. Or aham samyak asmi. Or vayam samyak smaha. Smaha is the plural of santi or asti, asmi. Asmi plural is smaha in Uttama Purusha. So, vayam samyak smaha. That would be the answer. So, we have seen
Sanjeevji,
hmm.
this new set of slides, it's not on the...
Not on your set of slides, yeah.
Yeah.
I will add him. This is a set of other class.
Yeah, I think this would be helpful. Can we have them?
Yeah, this is also shared. Actually, I'll give you the link. This is a shared one.
Okay, thank you.
I'll send you the link. Yeah.
You have all the Kriyapadam and all that here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So this Bhutakala, the past tense form, we have studied. Like this is a past participle form. Gatavan, in Bahuvachanam it becomes Gatavantaha. It's shown here. In Gatavati, just like Nadi word, it becomes Gatavatyaha. Gatavan is like Bhavan word. Bhavan was in Ekavachanam Bhavan, in Bahuvachanam was Bhavantaha. Like similarly, it becomes Gatavantaha if it is a pullinga. Bhavan is Bhavantaha, these are pullinga words. Gatavan, Gatavantaha also pullinga words. So similarly, anything with Van, Vantaha, for example, Drishtavan. So I saw. Drishtavan, he saw. Drishtavan. Aham Chitram Drishtavan. And Vayam Chitram Drishtavantaha. Because these are past participle adjective forms, they remain same for aham and bhavan. So aham chitram drishtavan, bhavan chitram drishtavan. Doesn't matter because this is an adjective noun form. Aham chitram drishtavan, bhavan chitram drishtavan. Aham chitram drishtavati, bhavatyaha, strilingam. Strilinga, if you see here, Gatavatyaha. So because Nadi, as if it is Nadi or Bhavati. Bhavati, Ekavachanam changes to Bhavatyaha, Bhavachanam. Bhavati, Gatavati, Bhavatyaha, Gatavatyaha. You people went. No. But you people should be, all of them should be feminine. In that group. So Bhavatyaha, Gatavatyaha. Napusakalinga form is also shown here, like I gave the example, Parnam Patitavat. And if there are many, Parnani Patitavanti. So this is short E. Note that these forms are similar here, Dvivachanam, but right now we are not studying Dvivachanam. But if you just know these forms are similar, sometimes it may be confusing. So you have to look at the subject word also. What is the subject word? Singular, dual or plural. So this Gatavan Gatavantah, this we have seen from before. And now Bhavishyat Kala, this also the table we have seen before. Here we have Patishyati, Patishyantaha, Patishyanti, Patishyati, Patishyanti in the Bahuvachana form. Ekavachanam Patishyati, Bahuvachanam Patishyanti, and Uttama Purusha we have Patishyami, Bahuvachanam Patishyamaha. So Bhavan, so if it is you, we can avoid this Madhyama Purusha and just use this Prathama Purusha. Bhavan Patishyati, Saha Patishyati, or somebody else, Lata Patishyati, somebody else, name of somebody, Lata Patishyati. And then Bahuvachanam is Te Patishyanti, Bhavantaha Patishyanti, Lataha Patishyanti, or if it is Strilinga Te, it becomes Taha. Te is a Strilinga, Pullinga Saha. Plural of Saha is Te. Plural of Sa is Taha. Like Rama becomes Ramaha, Palika becomes Palikaha, Sa becomes Taha. So we can use Taha here, Taha Patishyanti. Similarly, Aham Patishyami, Vayam Patishyamaha. So we can use this Bhavishyat Kala or future tense forms with different verbs. Like Gacchati becomes Gamishyati, Gamishyanti, Gamishyami, Gamishyamaha. Now, what about this Madhyama Purusha? So, Madhyama Purusha, we are using Bhavan here, Bhavan Patishyati. And what about Dvivachanam? So, Dvivachanam, yes, technically we can study this, but if you want to avoid this and work around this form, if you don't want to remember this, there is another trick you can use called Dvayam. So in English, for example, if you want to say a couple of boys is going, a couple of fruits are falling. So we can use that couple word here. Couple in Sanskritam is Dvayam. For the couple, the word is Dvayam. So what happens, this becomes easy now. If we use Dvayam, means couple, and when we use couple, just like in English, mostly we use the Kriya Padam, the verb in singular, because couple is singular. Couple means one unit, right? One unit. So couple of leaves, though we generally we are saying are, but technically is correct there, right? Couple of leaves is falling. It's a set of two leaves is falling. That's what is the meaning. So here also Dvayam also we use in the similar fashion. So Dvayam is attached to a Nama Padam. For example, if there are two boys who are going, so we can use this Dvivachana Kriya Padam and Dvivachana Nama Pada form, looking at the Vibhakti table, and we can use all this. But the simpler one, at least in the beginning stage, could be Balaka. Look at the Akaranta Pullinga. This is the base noun or noun base, whatever you call it. Or okay, the Pratipadikam, which is called in Sanskritam, or the noun base Balaka. This Akaranta Pullinga Balaka, right? So to that you just add Dvayam. Do not use any vibhakti form like Balakaha. Do not use the Visarga here. Just the base form. So then to that you add Dvayam. Balaka Dvayam. So now when you add Dvayam, this is a single word, not two different words. Balaka Dvayam is a single word. So this is in singular and it is in a Napumsakalinga. Okay? It is always in a Napumsakalinga. When we add Dvayam, it is always Napumsakalingam and Ekavachanam. And with this, you can use this word anywhere where the Napumsakalinga Ekavachana word can be used. And similarly, if you can add, if two boys are going, so you can use this dvayam, and then you just use gacchati, singular form of gacchati, or balaka dvayam patati, etc. So similarly, if there is two leaves, parna is the base form, parnam is the prathama vibhakti form, but we do not want to use any vibhakti ending form, so just use the base noun parna, parnadvayam patati, two leaves fall, parnadvayam patati. Similarly, if we are reading two books, we can use aham. If you look at the vibhakti table for pustaka, you will see the dual form as pustake. So you can say aham pustake pathami, pustake pathami. But to avoid that, we can just use pustaka dvayam. If you do not want to look up the vibhakti table and get into all that memorization mode, so you can just use dvayam here. Aham pustaka dvayam pathami, because pathami will not change. Aham pustake pathami, aham pustaka dvayam pathami, because aham is the doer there. So pathami is as per the subject word aham. Aham pustaka dvayam pathami. So, and similarly, if we are looking at a picture, aham chitra dvayam pashyami, two pictures, couple of pictures. Aham chitra dvayam pashyami. Similarly, if there are two suppose there are two rivers. So two rivers, the base word is nadi. So then you have nadi dvayam. So nadi dvayam asti. So asti is a singular form. So if we had used the dual form of nadi, then this would have been dual form, something like this, right? Or this, sorry. But we can circumvent that and then just do this nadi dvayam asti. Simple. Any question here? Nadi dvayam vahati. Balaka dvayam agamishyati. Two boys come. Couple of boys come. Or comes. So balaka dvayam agamishyati. Or it can be any kala, tense. Balaka dvayam gatavan. Balaka dvayam balika dvayam. Sorry, not gatavan, because dvayam is what? Napunsakalinga. So we have to use the Napunsakalinga form of that adjective. Gatavan is an adjective. So like patitavat, varnam patitavat. So if it is a bhutakala, if you are going to use that gatavan gatavati form, then we will have to use that Napunsakalinga form. Balaka dvayam gatitavat. But if it is like a simple this verb form, present tense, future tense, the forms we are seeing now, balaka dvayam patishyati, balika dvayam patishyati, ekavachana. Okay. Alright, ready to move on to the next one. Sankhyaha. Change to this one. Sankhyaha. Sankhya is numbers. So how are the numbers look like in this language? So, this numbers is a little bit tricky one, not that much, but once we understand it. So let's start with the simple 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. Right? So 1 we have Eka. Let's start with Eka is a base word. And for 2, Dvi is a base word. But when we actually use these things within a sentence, their forms slightly change. They change their forms. For example, let's start with Eka, 1. Then Eka, and actually all the numbers are adjectives, Visheshanam. And what is the rule for Visheshanam when it is used in a sentence? With respect to Vishesham, the one which is describing, it has to be in the same Lingam, Vachanam, Vibhakti, correct?
Yeah.
Visheshanam has to match the Lingam, the gender, and the number, Vachanam, and Vibhakti, which is the case ending, of the Vishesham, of the word it is describing. Lingam, Vachanam, Vibhakti should be matching. Of Visheshanam should be matching with that of Vishesham. So most of the times that rule has to be followed. There are some exceptions, but they're rare. So here Eka, so all the numbers are Visheshanam, adjectives, so they follow the same rule most of the times. Okay. Now Eka is 1 adjective. In Pullingam, Ekavachanam, Prathama Vibhakti, it becomes Ekaha. They also have all the Vibhaktis. Ekaha. Ekaha, so to the example, Ekaha Balakaha Asti. So there is one boy. So when we say Ekaha Balakaha Asti, so Ekaha is a Visheshanam, adjectives to Balaka. Ekaha Balakaha. Right? Ekaha Balakaha Asti. Now, the Strilingam form of Eka is Eka. Just like any other adjective, for example, Sundara, if that is the base word, becomes Sundaraha in Pullingam, Sundari in Strilingam, and Sundaram in Napunsaka. Similarly, Eka becomes Ekaha, Pullingam, Eka in Strilingam, and Ekam in Napunsaka. Unnataha. Unnata is a base word, Unnata, the tall. Pullingam Unnataha, Unnata in Strilingam, Unnatam in Napunsaka. Similarly, Ekaha, Eka, Ekam. These are the 3 different forms. So depending on what we are referring to as 1, Ekaha Balakaha, Eka Balika, Ekam. Ekam Kim, Ekam Phalam. So this way we can use it, and obviously if Balaka is in a different case ending, this Eka will also change the case ending. So what if there are 2 boys? Then we'll have to use a different word, a different number word, different word for the number. We can't use Eka because Eka means 1, and Eka will always be singular. It is adjective, yes, but when the Balaka, whatever we are using it for, that thing changes the number, then we cannot use Eka. Eka word is always singular, though it can change the Lingam and Vibhakti, but it is always singular. So as soon as this Balaka becomes Balakau, 2, then the Dvi comes into picture. Dvi. Dvi is the base word, and that changes to, in Pullingam it becomes Dvau. Dvau. Strilingam it is Dve, and Napunsaka also it is Dve. No change in this and this. Strilingam and Napunsakalinga form. So dvau, dve, dve. And note that this is always dvivachanam. There is no ekavachanam for dvi, or there is no bahuvachanam for dvi, because dvi is two. It is always dvivachanam, dual in number. So if the number or the object is 2 that we are referring to, and then it becomes dvau balakau. Dvau balakau. Similarly, this becomes dve balike, because that is the balike is the dual form of balika, and dve similarly phale. Phale, if you look up the vibhakti table, then this is a phale. Dve phale. That is about dvau. But if there are 3, then obviously we know the bahuvachanam form of balaka is balakaha. Then the base word 3 will also take 3 different forms, different depending on the lingam. So this becomes trayaha. Trayaha balakaha. Trayaha balakaha. Then we have tisraha. Tisraha is the feminine form. Tisraha balikaha. And neuter form, Namosakalingam is Trini. Trini phalani. Trayaha balakaha, tisraha balikaha, Trini phalani. Trayaha balakaha gachanti, tisraha balikaha gachanti, or tisraha balikaha gayanti, Trini phalani patanti, Trini paranani patanti. So we change the lingam of eka, dvi, and 3 like this. Also the chatur also. Chatur is the base word for 4. And this also changes its form depending on the lingam. So chatvaraha is for the pullingam. Chatvaraha balakaha pathanti. Then chatasraha, like tisraha, we have chatasraha. Chatasraha balikaha bhavanti. Then we have chatvari in the Ponsakalingam. Chatvari phalani santi. So this also changes based on the lingam. Chatvara, chatasraha, chatvara. So ekaha 1 and dvau 2 in pullingam, and trayaha 3 in pullingam, chatvaraha 4 in pullingam. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, the lingam, based on the lingam, the form of that number word changes. However, after that it is easy. From 5 onwards, it doesn't change the form based on the Vishesham. It remains same. So the same is Pancha. Pancha parvataha santi. Pancha balikaha santi. Pancha phalani santi. Doesn't matter what the object word is. How many are there? Sorry, what is the lingam of that? Doesn't matter, but Pancha remains same for all the different words. If there are 5, Pancha balika pullinge, Pancha balikaha strilinge, Pancha phalani napunsakalinge. Similarly, Pancha onwards there is Shad, or Shat is the more Shat, and then there is Shat balakaha, Shat balikaha, Shat phalani. Then there is Sapta for 7. Sapta balakaha, Sapta balikaha, Sapta phalani, Sapta vanani. So these things will remain same. This is easy. So 5 onwards, it remains same, no change. So these have been collected in this table here, Sankhya Koshtaka.
Sanjeevji?
Yes.
Sorry, question here, Shiv here. For 6, can we use shat or shad? Anyone? Or is there a specific time when we can use one or the other?
No, the base word is, base word is shat. The question is, can we use shat? Or sometimes we hear shad. Shad. So, base word is shat. Now, if we are just saying shat, just without anything afterwards, it's a sandhi rule, basically sandhi rule. If there is nothing after shat, then we can use either of them, shat or shad. But what comes after that shat, depending on that, this either changes to shad or remains shat. So that is a sandhi rule. For that we need to study sandhis.
Okay, thank you. I can that quickly. I think you can get this. The rule is after the shat, if there is any consonant which is the first column or the second column of those 25. Remember if you remember the table of consonants, right? Anyone remember? Can you recite if somebody remembers what are the consonants? Ka, kha, ga,
ga, nya, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya, nya.
Yeah.
Ta, tha, da, tha, na. Ta, tha, da, tha, na. Pa, pha, ba, pha, ma.
Okay. So here the thumb rule is, after the shat, if any of this consonant, any consonant of this first two columns, ka, kha, cha, cha, ta, tha, ta, tha, pa, pha, if they come, then the shat doesn't change to shad, it remains ta. Other than that, if there is any of these three columns they come, then it changes to da. Any of these three. No. This is about those group of 25 consonants. But now from the, what are the other like last 8 consonants?
Ya, sha, ra, sha, la, sa, ba, va, ha.
Ya, ra, la, va, sha, sha, sa, ha. So these first two columns, and in that last 8, sha, sha, sa. These three. Sha, sha, sa, these three. So these first two columns from these 5 rows, and from the last row, sha, sha, sa. Any of these, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Any of these 13 comes after that shat, then it remains ka. Otherwise, other than these 13, any other letter, any other consonant or any other vowel, swara, any other swara, vowel or any other vyanjanam or consonant comes, then it changes to da. Okay? Okay, Shiva? Somewhat clear?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev.
First two columns, the consonants from the first two columns, from that first 5 rows, and the last one, sha, sha, sa. For example, we have studied we have looked at the 6 tastes, like Did you see that? Madhuram. What is Madhuram? 6 tastes. One is Madhuram is Ruchi. Ruchi is taste. Rasaha. Madhuraha. Kasya Ruchihi Madhuraha. Sharkara. Sharkara is sugar. Sharkarayaha Ruchihi Madhuraha. Ruchihi means taste. Madhuraha. Madhura is sweet. So we have looked at these different Madhura, Tikta, Katuhu, Amlaha, Lavanaha. So those 6 tastes we have looked at. So there is 6 tastes. So Shat Rasaha. Rasaha is rasa means taste. So Shat Rasaha. So here does this change to ta to da?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because this is ra. So this becomes Shad Rasaha. Shad Rasaha. You can make it single word or separate word, doesn't matter. Shad Rasaha. Shad Rasaha. So also there is a god in our Puranas called who has 6 heads. So we call it Shad Mukha. Shad Mukha. So it becomes Shad Mukha, not Shat Mukha. Ta, because there is a ma here, change to da. Shad Mukha. So in this Koshtaka or table we are listed here. Eka. So this is a bit comprehensive one. Let me explain this a little bit. So if you look at this row here, so here you see the Prathama Vibhakti, Ekaha, Eka, Ekam, okay. Then Dvau, Dve, Dve, you see here Pum, Stri, and Pum, means Pullinga, Strilinga, Napunsakalinga, Eka, Eka, Ekam, Dve, Dvau, Dve, Dve. Okay. Similarly, we have Trayaha, Tisraha, Trini, Chatvaraha, Chatasraha, Chatvari. If somebody is interested in their vibhakti, different vibhakti forms, case ending forms, they are here. This is Dvivachanam, sorry, not the Dvitiya vibhakti, Tritiya vibhakti, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami. If you are interested, you can look at it, but this is the main thing what we have looked at or studied. Prathama vibhakti, Ekaha, Eka, Ekam, Ekaha, Balakaha, Eka balika, Dvau balakau, Dve balike, Trayaha balakaha, Tisraha balikaha, Trini, Phalani. Similarly, we have here Pancha. Pancha is, there is no change based on the lingam. So Trishu Lingeshu Samana means in all 3 genders it is the same form and they are always plural. Nitya Bahuvachanam means always plural, obviously, because there are more than 1 or 2. So Pancha, Shat, Sapta, Ashta, Nava, Dasha. These are forms of, and they also have the vibhakti forms if you are interested. Then there is, I added one more. Okay, in this column I have shown this column 11, 12 and so on. So till here I have shown just the different vibhaktis, but from here I have not shown the vibhaktis here. So because they are all similar to the previous, this is all Prathama vibhakti from here onwards. So you see here this Ekadasha, Dvadasha, Trayodasha, Chaturdasha, etc. These are for 11. Ekadasha is 11, Dvadasha is 12, Trayodasha 13, Chaturdasha 14, Panchadasha 15, Shodasha 16, Saptadasha 17, Ashtadasha 18, Navadasha 19. Now 20 changes to Vimshatihi. Vimshatihi. So these also do not change when we use them in the sentence. They do not change their form depending on the lingam of the other word. So if there are 20 boys, 20 girls, this Vimshati remains same. Of the 11, there is Ekadasha balakaha, Ekadasha balikaha. 18, Ashtadasha balakaha, Ashtadasha balikaha. Similarly, 20, Vimshatihi. Remember, there is a visarga there. Vimshatihi balakaha, Vimshatihi balikaha. If there are 30, this becomes Trimshat. This is 30. Trimshat balakaha, Trimshat balikaha. Then Chatvarimshat balakaha, Chatvarimshat balikaha. Panchashat, 50. 40. This is 20, 30, 40, 50. Shashtihi is 60. And then in Saptatihi is 70. Then we have Ashitihi, which is 80, and Navatihi 90. Now going here, Vimshati, if you look at Vimshati and down the column here, this is Vimshati is 20 and Eka Vimshati is 21. Eka Vimshati 21, 21, 22. So Vimshati is 20, Eka Vimshati 21, Dva Vimshati 22, Trayo Vimshati 23, Chatur Vimshati, Chatur, remember Chatur, not Chatu Vimshati, Chatur, and Panchamimshati, Shadvimshati, Saptavimshati, Ashtavimshati, Navavimshati is 29. Then Trimshat. Navavimshati has like couple of forms here. And Navavimshati and Ekona Trimshat. Then Ekona. What does this mean? Ekona. Eka plus Una. Una is less. Yeah. Una is less. So Eka Una means one less. Trimshat means 30. 1 less 30 means 29. So we can either say Navamimshatihi or Ekona Trimshat. Means both the same thing, 29. Okay. Similarly, we can also say Navadasha, which is here 19, but 1 less 20 also we can say, which is Ekona Vimshatihi. Actually, Ekona can be used with anything now. There is no hard and fast rule that the numbers have to be said like this only. So there are other ways of saying numbers in Sanskritam, right? Because when we want to say 25, we can also say 17:8. So that way also possible. But this is a simpler standard way of using or saying the numbers. So Panchavimshati, for example, Panchavimshati is 25 here, and similarly Navadasha or Ekona Vimshati is 19. Navavimshati or Ekona Trimshat is 29. And similarly we have Trimshat, Eka Trimshat, Dva Trimshat. Note that this Eka, Dva, these are coming like prefixes here. Like Trayo. No. Actually there is a Trayaha. Trayaha is the prefix there. Then this sometimes it changes to Trayo or Trayas, depending on what is coming afterwards. The similar Sandhi rule we saw, similar to that. So Trayo Vimshatihi, because there is a word there, it is coming Yo here. Trayo Vimshatihi, and here becomes Sa, Trayas Trimshat, Trayas Trimshat. Similarly, the next one also here, Chatur Vimshati, Chatur Trimshat, Chatur. So here we are adding Chatur as the prefix. Chatur Vimshati, Chatur. I think this should be different. Let me reconfirm. Chatur. There is a typo here. Let me fix this. Not that. Next. Because of Sunday. Let me just yeah. So this will appear like this. Chatustrinshat. Not chatur, because the sandhi rules are clear there. Trayastrinshat, chatustrinshat. Okay, then this becomes Trayaschatvarinshat. This becomes sha here. So Trayaschatvarinshat, Trayah Panchashat. There is the Trayah remains same here. Trayah Panchashat, Trayashashtihi, or you can also say 3. There are multiple forms here. 3 or Trayah. 3 Chatvarinshat, which may be simpler to say, right? 3 Chatvarinshat, 3 Panchashat, 3 Shashtihi, 3 Saptatihi. And here it because Sandhi, 3 plus Ashiti becomes Trashiti, Trashitihi, and 3 Navatihi. Similarly, Chaturvimshatihi, Panchavimshatihi, Shadvimshatihi, all these are there. Pancha Chatvarimshat. All these can be, you can just go through this. So the last one is Navanamatihi here, 99. Navanamatihi, 9 and 90. Nava is 9, Navatihi is 90. So 99, Navanamatihi. If you have noticed here, the difference between English and this is numbering system. Numbering system is, in English, for example, we say 95, we write 95, and we say 90 and 5. So whatever is in the 10th place or the highest value or highest weightage, that is said first, right? 90 and then 5. 5 has it is in the ones place. But in Sanskritam it is reverse. So when we say 95, where is 95 here? Pancha Navatihi. So here Pancha comes first. Pancha and then 90 comes later. Pancha Navatihi. Similarly, if you say Navadasha, 19. So here 9 is coming first, 10 is coming later. Dasha. Dvadasha, 2, Dvi, the 2 is first and Dasha later. Ekadasha, Ek first, 1 first and Dasha later. 11, Ekadasha. Similarly, there are numbers more than 99 also. Obviously, there is Shatam. This part shows that there are lot of numbers here. Shatam, 100, and Shatam is Napusakalingam, whereas Vimshati onwards these were all Strilingam, but they do not change the form depending on what we are using it for. So Vimshatihi Balakaha remains same. Similarly, the Shatam remains same whether it is the other word is Pullinga, Strilinga, Napusakalingam. Shatam Balakaha, Shatam Balika, etc. It is just like saying 100. 100 doesn't change form, but 100 is 100. So Shatam, 100 boys, 100 girls, etc. Shatam. So the lingam, based on the gender, the change happens only for the first 4. Eka, Dvi, Tri, Chatur. So only those 4. So, but for the other, it does not change the form. Okay? So we have Shatam onwards. If somebody is interested, they can just go through that later. But now, what is this Kati? We have Kati here. So Katham, we know Katham means how. Right? Katham is how. Katham is how. Then Kati is how many. Kati is how many. Katham is a fixed form, we saw that, but Kati is actually not a fixed form. It has its vibhakti, but Kati is always a plural. Kati is always a bahuvachanam. But it has different vibhakti forms here, like this. But generally at least initially, it is enough to know this Kati in the Prathama vibhakti, Kati. So if we want to ask how many boys are there, or how many boys are there, we can ask Kati balakaha santi, and how many girls are there, Kati balikaha santi, and then how many fruits are there. Kati phalani santi. You can use kati there. Kati parnani santi. Kati lekhanyah santi. Lekhani, which is pen. Bahuvachanam. Lekhanyah. So we don't say kati lekhani santi. Lekhani is singular. So when we are asking, when we don't know how many are there, we use the plural, right? How many pens are there? We don't say how many pen is there. How many? Kati is always how many. So we use the plural form of the noun in the question sentence. So kati phalani or kati lekhanyah santi. How many pens are there? But the answer could be only one. If there is only one lekhani, then the answer will be singular. So eka lekhani asti. Kati lekhanyah santi. Eka lekhani asti. Kati vahanani santi. Ekam vahanam asti. If there are two, then there will be dual there. Dve vahane or dvau balakau, etc. But with the kati, the question will be in plural. Any question so far? Kati prashnaha santi. How many questions are there? Kati uttarani santi. How many answers are there? Prashnaha is pullingam, uttaram napusakalingam. Kati prashnaha, kati uttarani.
Sanjeev ji, when we are saying like, okay, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, so we are writing the 1, 2, 3, 4 prior to the 60, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then, does that 1, 2, 3, 4 change form? No.
In this table here, this part, no, they don't change the form.
Okay. So only 1, 2, 3, 4 change form.
Because this whole thing is one word. Eka shashtihi is one word. Eka is not a different word.
Okay.
One word. So the whole word is one word and it remains same. Whether the other word is pullinga, strilinga, punslinga, this remains same. Eka shashtihi balakaha, balikaha.
Thank you. You will provide the link for this downloadable sheet, right?
Yeah. Do you have 2 more minutes? Because my homework depends on that. To read the...
Yes, go ahead, please.
To read the clock. To read the clock, now we know the numbers, right? Numbers. Obviously, in the clock, we need which numbers? 1 to 12 for the hours and 1 to 60 for the minutes. So it is that. Yeah. So if you look at this clock here, for example, here there is a 10 o'clock. So one thing you have to remember that for Vadanam we are going to use for saying what is the time or o'clock. It is like saying o'clock. So if it is 10 o'clock, for example, here, which is a full hour, 6 is shat. So we use shat and Vadanam, and that becomes a single word. And as we discussed the Sandhi rule now, whether this ta changes to da when there is a va after that, does it change to va, da?
No.
If there is a va? Huh?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this changes to da. So it changes to shad vadanam. Note that they are not they are not two different words. It is a single word. Shadvadanam. Shadvadanam, single word. 6 o'clock. For that we say Shadvadanam. Similarly, if there is 10 o'clock, Dashavadanam. 1 o'clock, Ekavadanam. So from Ekavadanam, Dvivadanam. So not Dvavadanam or anything, because we are going to use the root word for this. Root word for Ekaha is Eka. Dvi, obviously. Dvav is a Pullinga Prathama Vibhakti, but the root word is Dvi. We just use Dvi. It's simple. Dvi, and 3 is a root word. Eka, Dvi, 3. Ekavadanam, Dvivadanam, Trivadanam. And for 4, the root is Chatur. So Chaturvadanam. Chaturvadanam. Chatur, this is like this, and then Vadanam, single word. Then after that, the words are simple. First 4 is little bit like this. The root word is different. Eka, Dvi, 3, Chatur. Then after that it is simple. Pancha is Pancha only. Panchavadanam. Panchavadanam. Similarly, Shadvadanam, Saptavadanam, Ashtavadanam, Navavadanam, Dashavadanam, Ekadashavadanam, 11 o'clock. And then there is a Dvadashavadanam. Yeah, Dvadashavadanam. Now, how do we say this one now? Here it is quarter to 10, right? It is 9:45 or quarter to 10. So, we can say 9:45. So, Navavadanam. After that, Nava, we have 45. 45 is, we can go to the table and find out what is 45. So here you say 45, you say Pancha Chatvarimshat. So we can say, technically we can say like 9:45, 45 after 9. So we can say like that. So Pancha Chatvarimshat is 45. Pancha Chatvarimshat Adhika. Adhika means over. Pancha Chatvarimshat Adhika Navavadanam. Adhika. We can say that. Pancha Chatvarimshat. First we use that. Pancha Chatvarimshat Adhika Navavadanam. Because Navavadanam remains. We know that. That's the standard one. Navavadanam, Dashavadanam, whatever. Pancha Chatvarimshat Adhika. Similarly here, 30 minutes after. So 30 minutes we have Trimshat. Trimshat Adhika Navavadanam. We can say that. So here there is 15 minutes after. Panchadasha. Panchadasha Adhika Panchavadanam. We can say that, but if they are like this quarter less or quarter more like this, there is a simpler way to say that. Just like we say quarter to 10 or quarter past 5. So it is easier. Or this is half past 9. We can use similar words here. So here, for example, here quarter to 10. So for quarter we have pada in Sanskritam. Pada means we know that padaha is foot, but also pada is a quarter. And ardha is for half. Word for half is ardha. Now, I also just in the past slide, I also said una, like ekona was there. Ekona vimshatihi. Una means less. And just now I used the word adhika for more, right? So using these 4 words, we can make up this quarter past or before, quarter less, or half past or half before. Yeah? We can make those words. How? For example, this is quarter to 10. So what is, that means less, 1 quarter less than 10. So we have pada, quarter, una, less. So we have padona, pada plus una, there is a sandhi, becomes padona. Okay. Padona. Similar to that, ekona vimshati vata, eka plus una, ekona. Similar to that, pada plus una, padona. means 1 quarter less. Then we can add a dasha. Right? Padona dasha. Note that the whole thing is single word. The padona is and dasha, they are not two separate words. Padona dashavadanam. Okay? Padona dashavadanam. Vadanam remains same here. Dashavadanam. Padona dashavadanam means quarter less 10 o'clock. Okay? 1 quarter less. Similarly, this becomes what? The third one here. Padona chatur. Padona chaturvadanam. Right? Padona chaturvadanam. Now, here, this one. Quarter past 8 o'clock. Quarter past. So, we can use adhika, but it is easier to just use another simple one called sa. Sapada. Sa means with. Sapada. We have studied saha, right? Ramena saha, balakena saha agacchati. So this saha short form is sa. The sa is with. Sapada is single word. Sapada ashtavadanam, here ashta. Or if it is quarter past 10, we can use dasha. Sapada dashavadanam. Single word. The whole thing is single word. Sapada dashavadanam. Here sapada chaturvadanam. So either use padona or sapada. Padona dasha, sapada dasha. So quarter less, quarter more. Then if it is half past, half less, we use ardha. So we use ardha. So ardha is always we are using after, right? After something, not less. We don't want to say less, though it's technically possible, but easier to say after. So you say sa plus ardha. Sa and like say we use sa pada means with quarter. So we use sa ardha. Ardha is half. Now sa and ardha together becomes a sandhi. So it becomes sardha. Sardha. Like ekona was a sandhi. Here sardha. Sa ardha. If you say it continuously, it becomes sa. Like sardha. That is a sandhi, joining. Sardha. Like here, sardha dvivadanam. Sardha dvivadanam. Okay. Then we take this one, sardha navavadanam. Sardha trivadanam. Okay, so Veena, what is this one? With the time here, in this clock.
One is quarter to 11.
This one. For quarter less, we have padona.
Padona.
This is ekadasha.
Ekadasha.
Padona ekadasha vaganam. So in our current clock in the US, it is here something like this, right? So how do we say that? What is the time now in your clock, if it is like this?
Quarter to 9.
Yeah. Padona.
Padona nava.
Yes. Padona navavadanam. Yeah. So what is your time, Giovanni?
Okay, yes. Padona trivadanam.
Padona 3. So remember that Sapada and Padona. Padona is one less quarter, and Sapada, one additional quarter. And Sardha is half. Sardha 3, Sardha whatever. Sardha is 1 with half. This way you can at least get some basic reading of the clocks. Okay, can stop here. If we have any questions, can ask. Okay. Astu, धन्यवादः, नमस्कारः.
धन्यवादः.
Namaskara, धन्यवाद,
Namaskar, everyone.